Within the geek space, you do have things that are bright spots. Not everything is crumbling and collapsing around us. Yes, there are many things that go wrong, things that have gone sideways, things that we enjoy that have been abused, but there are bright spots. I just read Ultimate Spider Man #4, and it's maintained. I would say the story has maintained integrity. You have the Green Goblin, which is Harry Osborn, has met up with Peter Parker, Spider Man. They know each other's identities. They've gone out to eat. Harry is married to Gwen Stacy. Of course, Peter is married to Mary Jane. They meet up for a dinner. After their identities are revealed, Harry has told his wife everything, but Peter has yet to tell Mary Jane anything, even though his daughter knows. And there's character and world building going on in these comic books. And I know there's probably people out there that complain because not all of the comic books have action. A lot of it is character and world building. Yes, we know Peter Parker. We've seen him throughout the years that he's been Spider-Man. We know the story, but this story in this account is slightly different. And I like the fact that it's slightly different. It's slightly different, but in a very tasteful way. It's not always done good when companies change the trajectory. Well, I wouldn't say the trajectory. When they modify the backstory of a character, it's typically not good. Not much good comes of that. But I will say in this specific instance, things have actually been done well, and I'm very pleased with what I'm reading. If Marvel could take what they're doing with Ultimate Spider-Man and translate that to other books, I think they would be in a good position. So far, I have Ultimate Black Panther #1, and it seems to keep with that same pace and the same storytelling style that you see in Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's good. I like the way it's building up. So that's a bright spot. I know there's a lot of things we can complain about, but this, in my humble opinion, is a bright spot in comic books. Now, I don't go over this stuff much on my channel, but I'd like to get into it some more. Nintendo Switch 2. Yes, that's part of the geek space. And this is something that the internet, the geek side of the internet, is buzzing about a lot. There's a lot of stuff being talked about concerning Nintendo Switch 2. So I want to read this article, and it is on Kotaku. Everything we know about the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I can't make any predictions, or I can't say that I have some inside knowledge and I can project what's going to happen next moving on. I have no idea what's going to happen next for Nintendo. Part of me believes, even before I get into this article, I haven't read it yet. Part of me believes that Nintendo is, I won't say they're going to shoot for the fences, but they're going to get close. I don't think the next version of hardware is going to be as underpowered as the original Nintendo Switch. And they've pulled off some amazing feats with the Nintendo Switch. If you've played any of the Zelda series, I've played Crisis on the Switch. What else did I play? Wolfenstein. Graphically, it's impressive. Is it the most impressive thing you've ever seen? No, it's not. But knowing the power of the Switch, or lack thereof, and what they were able to do with some of these games, Doom especially, it is really astonishing what was accomplished with this underpowered system in that game. Anyway, there's been a lot of rumors going around about the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course, many people are waiting to see what's going to happen. So we're going to read this article from Kotaku, written by John Walker and Moises Tavares. I'm pretty sure I said that name correctly. Maybe I didn't. Anyway, no matter what you're doing or what you're playing at the moment, it feels like We're all just biding our time until the announcement of the follow up to the Nintendo Switch. I agree. I think many people are waiting to see what's coming next. They want to see what's coming next. And some people are probably actually holding off on buying anything new until they see what Nintendo does. I'm one of those people. I didn't go out and buy a new Xbox. Never really been a fan of Sony, so I didn't buy a PlayStation. I do have a Switch Lite, one of the first systems I've owned in years, allowed me to play on the go. I don't really play games as much as I used to, so that was perfect for me. Okay, colloquially known as the Switch 2, around these parts, reporting on the forthcoming console has picked up tremendously since late last year, and rumors of its delay to 2025 spread like wildfire mere months ago. A slim 2024 release window for everyone's favorite handheld console seemingly points to Nintendo holding back some titles for a console launch early next year. And I'm telling you, one that I have been waiting for is Metroid. I have been waiting with bated breath for Metroid. They announced it. I was excited. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know why I'm excited. I've played Metroid. I played Metroid Prime. I was never really like a huge fan of Metroid, but something about this feels different. Something tells me that this is going to be the game to watch. It says, and all while more rumors of the Switch 2's form factor and tech keep sprouting up. Nintendo hasn't confirmed anything, but with gaming's big season of reveals right around the corner, now seems like as good a time as ever for the company to straight up announce this thing and begin the rollout. And this is true. This would probably be the best time for them to make their announcement, have their rollout. I think they would probably really steal the thunder of the other consoles. Whatever the other consoles have in the works, I think once Nintendo makes their announcement, they're pretty much going to choke the air out of the rest of the room. It says, with that in mind, here's everything we currently know about Nintendo's next generation console. I was always a Sega guy. I had the original Sega Master System, and then I had the Sega Genesis. I don't know what it was. I just was always a Sega guy. When Sega went out of business, I think the next console I bought was a GameCube. I was impressed with the GameCube. It had a lot of potential, even though it didn't go far. After that, I got an Xbox 360. I never bought the original Xbox, and I really didn't get into Halo until that second Xbox. That's when I read the books, really got into the Halo lore, and it is really a great game that unfortunately Microsoft has done a very terrible job managing. They really have. Okay, will it really be called the Switch 2? The first thing to say is it almost definitely won't be called the Switch 2. I think it's a good possibility it actually might be. Nintendo has frequently iterated on its successful handheld designs. The DS became the DSi, the DSi XL, then eventually the succeeding 3DS and its own iterative generations. But they never put a 2 on anything. They are more than likely to use a U. I hope they don't. I don't know what it is about the U. I'm not feeling. Or something equally peculiar. However, let's stick with Switch 2. For the sake of ease, people online are constantly campaigning for it to be called the Super Nintendo Switch. That would actually be dope. That would actually be dope and a really nice callback to a bygone era. But we don't want to but they don't want to get their hopes up. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Will a Switch 2 be that different. And this is where I'll make my predictions. With mobile technology really taking leaps and bounds, I think the next Nintendo console, whatever it's called, though on paper it might not be technologically matched with the newer consoles, I think it will be able to keep up. And I think it will be more than the original Switch is. So it won't just barely keep up. I think it will, to some degree, be on par. I could be wrong about that. Of course, knowing what to expect from Nintendo is never that easy. They are super secretive. For Sony or Microsoft's forthcoming projects, you not get particularly good odds betting against both being in early design stages for beneath TV boxes called the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Flower Pot 87, or whatever deranged name the behemoth concocts next. But Nintendo is the sort of company that might spring out of nowhere with a super underpowered console that comes with a plastic sensor operated by two remote controls or handheld gaming device with two screens. Only one of them is a touchscreen, and it folds in half. They're unpredictable, and they really are unpredictable. The Nintendo Switch, I thought would have slightly more power. Even though it's underpowered, they did a lot with the power they did have, and they really have. I mean, when you think about it, this system should not have lasted as long as it has, and it has held on. It's actually kind of crazy. The general thinking is that the success of the Switch is too vast to make any enormous changes over its own unique design. In 2017, we were all blinking in surprise at a dockable handheld device with controllers that fell off the sides. It was as ever wonderfully strange and innovative, and despite tech that was already out of date on its release, it held up and entertained us for 7 years. It would seem an enormous risk at this point, and with such market saturation, the Switch is said to have sold 132 million units, outselling even the PS4's lifetime sales with time to go. To release something that didn't at least feel compatible with the Switch, an analyst, Dr. Sirkin, told GI Biz in January, Sirkin Toto told GI Biz in January 2024 that he believed it will be similar to the current Switch, albeit with some bells and whistles. I hope it's similar in form factor, but I hope it has more power under the hood. That's what I'm hoping. It would also seem like some special kind of madness for Nintendo to step away from hybrid model of the Switch, where it docks as standard console and lifts out of the portable gaming device in a time where Sony is trying to retrofit the concept to its PS5, and Microsoft wants to achieve the same through mobile devices. Rumors are this is the case. I don't think Nintendo's going to switch. All pun intended. But really, I don't think Nintendo is going to switch. They have such a huge, I don't want to say advantage, but I think that is the right word. They have a huge advantage in the space that they're in with a dockable portable console that turns into a TV top, a TV set console. I think that was a great idea and it paid off for them. But I do hope they add more power to make the next console on par with what we have now. I don't think fans will be able to take for too long an underpowered system that can't play certain games that should be across all platforms. And I think Nintendo would really do a disservice to fans if they do that. So that's the gaming news. That's some good stuff. Yaira number 1 is at $1.38 million. That is a lot of money. That's the Yaira 1 campaign from the Rippaverse. This is exciting. I think this book will potentially be one of the best books that the Rippaverse has put out so far. I think so far, this just, in my humble opinion, Alpha Core number 1 really did. It really took the Rippaverse to another level. They really stepped their game up with that story, with the art, the way the book flowed, everything about the book. I enjoyed it. It was just, it felt so retro, but in a good way. Not like it was trying to be retro, but it was retro in the sense that it was just a great comic book, great art, great storyline, and it made you want to come back for more. So I think the Rippaverse is in a good position, and I think they're here to stay. I don't think the Rippaverse is going anywhere. I think if anyone is of the opinion that this is going to fail at some point, now granted, I'm not a fortune teller. Anything can fail. Any company can fail at any moment for a number of reasons. I don't think that will be the case here. I think this company will be around for a while. I don't think this is going to be one of those flash in the pan comic book companies that are here today and gone tomorrow, made a little bit of a buzz, and then you don't hear about them anymore. I think the Rippaverse is here. For those in the industry that don't want this thing to succeed, it's already too late. If you have 4 back-to-back as an independent creator, you have no outside help, and you have 4 back-to-back $1 million plus campaigns, that's a success that's not an accident. You have developed a fan base that loves what you do. Everybody's not going to like it. I prefer Marvel comics, but Batman is my favorite hero. So I read Batman comics. I read some DC comics, but I prefer Marvel. Not everybody's that way. There's some people that are vice versa. They prefer DC. They might have 1 or 2 comics in Marvel they read, but they don't really prefer Marvel. People are going to like some things. There's some things they're not going to like. So again, it won't be for everyone, but the fans that they've built here at the Rippaverse, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think that number even is only going to grow as this thing gains more popularity. I'll tell you this, if this is picked up in some comic book stores at any moment, I think it's gangbusters time, because if more people were exposed to the quality in these books, man, I think they would sell quadruple what they're selling now. And that, again, that's just my humble opinion. I'm not saying that opinion is law, but the Rippaverse is doing a very good job. And from what I understand, they're trying to get to the point where they're rolling out multiple books a year. Like I think they're, if I understand correctly, they're trying to get to the point where they're doing 1 book a month. And these are not regular comic books. These are graphic novels. These are 100-page plus books that are really good and that are packed full with story, with action, with world building. All of that in these books is done very, very well, and I enjoy it. I think this is contrary probably to what some believe. I think this is actually a great time to be a geek. I'm not going to say there's never been a time that it's been good to be a geek. Obviously, in the early to mid 90s, reading comic books, being a geek, it was great. There was so much geek stuff coming out, but I think the same thing is beginning to happen. I think the geek space is beginning slowly but surely. Now, I'm not telling you all of these companies that have done things to tick off the fans are just going to magically come back. That's not what I'm saying. But I think we do see a course correction where a lot of these companies are realizing, yo, if we want to make money, we got to give the fans what they want. We can't just decide to sidetrack everything that's built our brands and just do anything. That won't work. So I'm excited about the geek space.